Hi, my name is Persephone, and this is Persephone's Board Game Reviews. Today I'm going to be talking about the Bohnanza expansions, High Bohn and Bohnanza Plus, which comes with High Bohn, and at the end I'll add a sentence about Bonaparte. So when I first saw these Bohnanza expansions at the game store, I went home to look online to find out if they were good or not, and I couldn't decide if they were a good idea or not, but I had already played the base game with my board game friends about 100 times, and I thought something to spice up the relationship couldn't hurt, so I purchased them. One of my favorite things about Bohnanza is that it's simple yet tactical and interesting. So if I'm going to get an expansion that takes away some of that simplicity, it better add twice as much depth. So let's take a look. Okay, so here's High Bohn. I set up the cards so that you can see what they look like. And in this expansion, the players can buy these building cards at any time that give you certain perks. And I pulled some of them out so you can see what they look like and what they do. Here is a garden bean building. It's very expensive. It costs 4 garden beans. And so you can imagine it's difficult to collect enough garden beans to use this card. But it's a powerful card because it allows you to get a whole nother bean field. This is a similar card, except it costs green beans, and it's cheaper. And so it's easier to buy it, easier to collect the green beans. And it's a similar card to the garden bean card because you get another bean field, but with the green bean card, you can only collect green beans, so there's a limitation. Here's one final example. This is a blue bean building, and it's kind of a cool card because anytime one of your opponents profits from blue beans, if you have the blue bean building, then you get 1 coin. And I like it in a game when you can profit from the labor of others. It feels really sleazy. So in general, my first impression of this game was that it would add depth to the game because people would try to collect certain types of beans, and so it would make trading a little more interesting. But in reality, that didn't happen because there are so many limitations on what you can collect that the players end up trying to collect every type of bean like they always do. And it makes the game a lot longer too. So it doesn't add a lot of depth. It doesn't really change the game. The buildings are kind of cool. They do interesting things and they're fun to use, but it doesn't make the game better. It makes the game much longer because it's hard to remember what all these cards do. There's like 30 different buildings. And so players constantly check back at the buildings and stop the game to read about them. And also, whenever a player has enough cards to potentially buy a building, they need to say, okay, hold on, I've got like 5 green beans and I've got 5 cognac beans. Let me check the board and see if I can buy anything. And then it just takes forever. And one of the best things about Bohnanza is that it's a faster game. So it's really terrible that it ruins that. One of the cool things about High Bohn is that it comes with this card, the cognac bean, which is supposed to take the place of the wax bean. But I think it's a better card than the wax bean because the beanometer is a little bit different. You need 5 cognac beans to get 1 coin, and so it makes it a little bit harder. When I'm playing Bohnanza, what ends up happening is everybody just gives wax beans to people who are collecting them, and then they profit very, very quickly. But when you play with the cognac beans, it just takes them longer to get coins, so it's more balanced. And I like that. So I've actually taken the wax beans out of my base game and replaced them with the cognac beans. So whenever we're playing, we use the cognac beans. So I like them. So I don't recommend High Bohn, even though I like cognac beans. But High Bohn comes with an expansion that I do like called Bohnanza Plus, and I'm going to talk about that now. Okay, so here's Bohnanza Plus. It's simple. You just add these order cards to your hand, and I'm not going to talk about the gameplay that much because it's not important really. The important thing is that it doesn't change the game that much. You get points for fulfilling these cards, and then you get to remove them from your hand. And it encourages people to make unexpected trades, so it adds some depth to the game. It doesn't take a lot of time to learn. My friends are always willing to play this one because they don't have to do much that's very different. It's just sort of fun and gives you another way to make points. The other card game expansion is Bonaparte, and I haven't really played this game enough to give it a good review, but it just seems insane to me. You set up the cards like a board and then you're trying to build armies. It takes forever and nobody wants to trade, and it just doesn't feel like Bohnanza at all. It's just not my thing, I think. But I really like Bohnanza Plus, and I recommend that one if you're into getting an expansion for your Bohnanza game. So thank you.